Now, so we talked about the DC versus non-DCEU movies. Get this. We got some Zack Snyder snooze. Zack Snyder, yeah, snooze. Zack Snyder news just from this week. And it's great because this comes to us from Screen Rant. The article headline is Zack Snyder opens up about Batman v Superman's divisive response 7 years later. This is just from 4 days ago. So get this. You're going to love this. He was speaking at a Q&A at Snyder's Full Circle event hosted by Vero. The director revealed why he thinks the response to Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice was so divisive.
It was 4 movies in one?
At least. Well, this film... So here's the question that he's asked. Get this. Well, this film in particular, you created so many layers for the storytelling in the characters, and I think you have to want to make an effort to dig a little deeper. You like that pseudo-intellectual nonsense?
It was like all over the place, and the motivations made no sense for the characters. You have to have like sensible motivation.
Here's his response to that question, if you can call it one. Snyder says, yes, but I think that probably is what caused the movie to be so polarizing. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of people went into the movies going like, oh, it's the superhero romp, right? Let's have fun with it. And we gave them this sort of hardcore, deconstructivist, heavily layered, experiential, modern, mythological superhero movie that you really need to pay attention to. That was not cool for them. That's not something anyone wanted to do. They were like, what? No, that's exhausting. How about, why do they fight at night? I hate that.
It made no sense.
Did you hear him? He's talking trash about the audience.
Superman goes to get Batman to help him to rescue his mother, and he doesn't really need help, but we'll just go with that, okay? Let's just go with the fact that perhaps he did need help. And when he gets there, he forgets what he's there for, and he just gets mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that made no sense. And then, what happens is that Batman goes off on his own and rescues the mother.
Okay, we're not talking directly about the movie. What did you think about... What do you think about his comments that he said about audiences?
BS. It's a bad movie, bad motivations, 17 things trying to happen at one time, and none of them are coordinated properly.
So you think he's like, no, my movie was great, you just didn't pay attention enough.
We were paying attention, all right.
Kind of sounds like he's insulting general audiences.
Listen,
not his Snyder fans, but general audiences.
Made no sense. I was going with it. I was really into it. And then it's like, you're supposed to be asking him for help. Why are you beating him up?
This article from Screen Rant goes on and says, Snyder revealed he was asked to make 2017's Justice League funnier after Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice's divisive reception, with DC's executives anticipating the movie getting the same criticism about its overall darkness and perceived lack of fun by the majority of critics and moviegoers as the previous DC release. That's a run-on sentence. The director explained the studio's notes on Justice League, with executives telling him that it was not funny enough and that people want funnier movies.
Well, the Justice League is just not even... The story's not told properly, and the villains make no sense.
Well, if you want to... Okay, that's not what we're talking about here, but if you want to find out more about how Justice League makes sense, you can go and watch Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Any humor in
because remember, Zack Snyder didn't direct the 2017 one that came out that we watched.
Oh, okay.
He shot a lot of it, and then they had to reshoot it, and that's how we ended.
It was so bad.
Okay.
I didn't even want to watch it. I was like, I don't want to watch this anymore.
So, there's some... Okay, one... I think Zack Snyder is insulting the audience, okay? Maybe it didn't mean to come out that way, but you gotta be a little bit more careful with what you say. You can't say, like, my movie was so layered and intellectually deep and you guys just didn't pay attention enough and understand it. I'm sure hopefully he didn't mean it to come out like that, because it kind of sounds like he was being a jerk. However, the studio executives were also right. Overall general audiences don't enjoy these dark, dour, superhero
they did
deconstructive
enjoy
stories.
Christopher Nolan.
That wasn't
They enjoyed
deconstructing
that.
superheroes.
Deconstructed means they threw 17 things in that they wanted in the movie and he had to put them all in. That's what that means.
Yeah, it's kind
That's what that means.
It is kind of pseudo-intellectual nonsense. Well, a lot of what this is, but I'll give you that. So people enjoy the Marvel movies more at the time because they were much more fun, and they had wacky and dumb things, but they were forced to make good movies because they only had like B-list characters, and they needed to make good movies at first. Now they've been propping out too much. So I think that the executives are right. Now, if obviously you're not someone who enjoys this overall Snyderverse feel.
I don't know what the Snyderverse is, but listen, this movie, I'm buying it, I'm in there, and then all of a sudden, it just goes, it makes no sense. I don't even need to know anything about the backstories of these characters. It just started to make no sense. And then it just spiraled. And then they're throwing in Wonder Woman, and they got like, why? Anyway, I don't even want to talk about it. It was just bad.
So, yes, we've discussed that after BVS came out and it received poor reception and didn't hit $1 billion. We've discussed that when that movie came out, then the studio wants to course correct and they want to make their movies funnier and more enjoyable, right? So that's why Suicide Squad was changed to be funnier. Wow. And that's why we had some fun with it.
I don't think the problem.
But it was supposed to be a lot darker.
The problem with this movie wasn't that it wasn't funny. The problem with this movie is that it didn't make sense.
The Justice League.
No, the Batman versus Superman.
Okay.
That was the problem.
So let's move on from that because there was lots of problems going on, in amongst. So every time they had a regime change, and then the executives saying, so if you're someone who likes these dark, dour Snyderverse movies, okay. There's absolutely a place for that. I'm not saying that. There are some of them I do enjoy. There are parts of them that I do enjoy. However, general audiences, which you need to have big, successful movies that reach $1 billion, you can't, he shouldn't be saying, he should, think about it for a minute before he said something like that, because it comes off sounding like a dick. Also, but general audiences generally don't want to see these movies, and that's why they're getting poor critic and audience scores, and also the box office is showing it because a lot of people have checked out on them, and they checked out a long time ago.
I don't even think they're worthless talking about. They're that bad.
Hey, I'm having fun with most of them.
So far, it's been a slog.
Even the bad ones, I'm still trying to find some fun in it, okay? And right now, the worst one for you is Justice League. That's at the bottom. For me, the worst one right now is still BVS. But I can still go back and look in my notes, and I'll have things that I did enjoy this, and this, but the execution, not so much. So that was interesting.